So this is Trump Tower.
Yes, it is, the famous Trump Tower.
You have some history in that place.
A little, yes. I worked here on the 2016 campaign. I ran around here as a baby because I grew up a few blocks from
Elizabeth
here.
Pipko grew up in New York, close to Fifth Avenue, a Jewish girl, daughter of immigrants, who never imagined she'd be one of the women closest to President Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
She defends me better than anybody.
Look, I got to spend the day with President Trump today. We started in New York. I walked this block every day going to work. As a 21-year-old girl, I would get spit on almost every day because there were protesters here, and I clearly had, a nice outfit on. I had my little badge. They knew where I was going, so I was spit on.
Did you feel confident? Was it hurting you?
It was weird, but they didn't know who I was. Now it's a little scarier because I get messages about how I should die.
Pipko, also a model on magazine covers, has come a long way with Trump. She's been with him for over 8 years, starting as a volunteer and rising to the senior role of spokesperson for the Republican Party, expressing it in the last campaign and helping him make critical decisions at key moments before.
How happy are you today that he was elected?
It's really, I don't think it's hit me yet. But, I gave 8 years of my life. My whole family gave 8 years to this man. So winning at the end, ending on a good note, was the best case scenario.
November 5th, Election Day. Being often around Trump, from his golf course to Mar-a-Lago, she sees everything. His relationships with senior world leaders and, of course, with Prime Minister Netanyahu,
He was going to end this war, saying it was the top of his priority list. So it makes sense. The baby's coming, and I think they shared a pretty good relationship in the past, and I'm sure they're going to get right back to that same bond.
But they had some ups and downs.
Yeah, who doesn't have ups and downs, right? But right now, what they're dealing with is one of the most difficult things you could probably deal with as a leader in this world. It's a really, really hard space to be in, and I don't know if there's a better duo, honestly, than Netanyahu and...
In a moment, we'll talk with Elizabeth about the hostage deal, but first, we're going back with her to where she grew up, Park Avenue Synagogue.
So up here, right here, plaque that I always kiss when I'm here, that's my grandfather, my dad's dad, who I never got to meet. It's weird because apparently I'm told I look just like him, which is my favorite thing in the world. I never got to meet him. My little brother is named after him, but it's one of the many things that make this building and this shul so special for me, is that I feel like his presence is here. This is where I went to school. This is where I went to shul. We had a lot of events here. I think I learned almost everything that I know about Judaism, that I feel in my heart, sitting in one of these seats as a little kid.
My little girl. I didn't move from my seat. I watched every business.
We were waiting. I was waiting. My husband and I were waiting the entire time, looking through every single person to see if we could find Elizabeth.
At Trump's election day?
Yes, at Trump's election day. We know where she stands.
I didn't move. I didn't move.
I didn't move. When are we going to see that? You and him together. She started with us years ago. We knew her when she was this little. And then she got a little bit bigger and she started ice skating, and her hair was all the way up in a bun, and she would leave early to ice skate. And then she graduated, and now look at where we are. We're back. We're back.
You still ice skate?
Yeah, I try.
Pipko tells us here that in her adulthood she began observing the Sabbath except for one period, very recently.
The last few months were a little difficult. Campaign time, especially when you work for Donald Trump, is really 24/7. And I apologize to Hashem as much as I could, but I'm gonna make it up.
So you couldn't observe Shabbat, but when you're, let's say, at Mar-a-Lago, what do you eat there? With
a lot of salad, but you'd be surprised. See, they have kosher food. If you tell them ahead of time, you will get a kosher meal.
This pro-Israel place where she grew up with a large Jewish community reminds in every corner of the hostages of Israel. For Pipko, it became a life mission and yours.
I think he wants the same thing Israel wants, right? You want not only a decisive victory over monsters, right, over your enemy, but you want a decisive victory that also ends in people coming back, because, again, this started on October 7th with the kidnapping of these innocent people and now the torture of these innocent people, a lot of which were also murdered. I remember him explaining how he felt when he heard that Hirsch was murdered. I think for him it's making sure that never happens again. It's that simple.
Does he want the deal to come to the second phase?
Yeah, I think you want to finish the job, right? You don't want to bring a few hostages home and then give hope to families and then end, right? You want to know that every single innocent person that was harmed or that has a chance of coming home, or even, unfortunately, the bodies of those that deserve to be home in Israel or home in America are where they belong. So I think for him, it's obvious, do the right thing. You end the war, you bring to an end an ideology that wants all the good in the world to be gone, and you bring home all the innocent people that were impacted by what happened.
Also tells us about how significant Trump's decision was to cancel visas for foreign students supporting Hamas, not just for Israelis and not just for Jews here, but for everyone who seeks peace and opposes violence in America.
There's good and there's evil, like I said, and Donald Trump is very black and white. He's very to the point, and he believes that if you stand in the United States of America and you support a terrorist group, maybe you shouldn't be here, right? You're not only contributing to anti-American sentiment, but obviously anti-Semitism at the same time, and people should realize those go hand in hand, right? It happens, but it's very infrequent, especially nowadays with anti-Semitism on the rise, that you find, a lone wolf somewhere that's anti-Semitic but loves America and all of our values. That's not the case anymore. The people that hate America and hate what we stand for, those are the people that also hate everything that Jewish people stand for, that Israel stands for, right?
Currently, Pipko is taking a moment to breathe after the huge victory and is also thinking about the next roles. What is certain is that she will stay in the area of the man she has supported for so many years and entered the Oval Office.
Not a lot of people can say they've done this for 8 years with no break. I never took my honeymoon from 6 years ago. I've never had a vacation with my husband. I don't know if I've had a dinner with my husband without talking about Donald Trump. So we're going to take our first vacation ever. We're going to do a lot of, work on the outside. And I think everyone wants to know, are you going to the administration? That's all anyone asks me. And I think I'd be silly to know that I have some connection to the White House and the president and 4 years and that I wouldn't do it. So yeah, I'm hopeful to eventually, spend a little time there.